क्या है मोबाइल नंबर?
It's like Anuj was doing one of those tests where, whether he's laugh out loud or not. Hello, everyone. Welcome to yet another episode of Ctrl+Alt+Rec. We are here joined by Anuj, CMO of Xiaomi India, as well as Kabir, who leads product marketing for us for tablets as well as smartphones. And we are basically here to talk about two amazing new products, which is the Redmi Pad SE 4G as well as the Pad Pro 5G. Now, I think there's so much to talk about this that we felt that a podcast is the only true way that we can actually dive into each and every detail of this and understand what these offer, right? And I think for the longest time, the question was, when are we going to have tablets with cellular connectivity? So I think the answer is here. We finally have it. But before we dive into the products itself, Anuj, any thoughts from you on how exactly we reached this position? What was the industry trend back in 2020? When did Xiaomi enter? And sort of where we are right now?
So we entered in what? In 22.
Yes.
Yeah,
So we actually got in 22, right? So
Yeah.
our first tablet actually was the Mi Pad.
yeah.
That was the smaller
Yeah,
one.
yeah,
When people were trying to figure out what tablets can do.
Yeah.
But I think at that point it was just something that was too early.
Hmm.
Right? So it was essentially just a larger screen, but didn't really do much beyond that. Productivity was a miss.
Yeah.
And I guess before 2017, even the data consumption or
Yeah.
content consumption was a limited problem.
Correct, yeah.
So 2020, we did launch laptops.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So when laptops came in, the whole idea was, okay, everyone needs this, and hence we brought that in.
Yeah.
But what we also realized was what most people do on their laptops
Hmm.
could have been done on a good tablet. And that's where
Right,
the
yeah.
discussion on the Xiaomi Pad introduction came in.
Hmm.
And over time, what we also realized was like the Xiaomi Pad 5 was a big success. But the Xiaomi Pad 6 with the keyboard, with the pen, became even better.
Yeah.
Right? So from a consumer ratings perspective, from a usage perspective, it just took it to a next level. So that's been a good understanding, good learning in terms of a tablet actually in today's world can sometimes do a bit more than a laptop can,
Hmm.
and gives you more benefits. So I guess that's where we've now started to expand our tablet portfolio.
Yeah. I think that's quite interesting what you mentioned, that what people ended up doing on a laptop was stuff they could have actually done on a tablet, which was actually, when you think of it, quite insightful. And I remember at that point of time when we launched the Pad 5, there were very limited options in terms of getting a great all-round experience, right? Especially in that segment. And funnily, even today, that remains the case. At least in the segment that the Pad 5, Pad 6 operate in, it's still a rarity to find a really good tablet.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
I think to get a good tablet on these lines, you have to go to like a 60K, 70K.
Yeah.
I mean, the iPad Airs are fairly decent tablets.
Yeah.
Good performance, good OS. Maybe they'll get the higher refresh rate in a few years.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I think absolutely agreed. And coming to the tablets that we are talking about today, two, I think, great additions, very different sort of TGs for both. But probably let's start with this one, the Redmi Pad SE 4G.
Yeah.
And I'll direct my question towards you, Kabir, because you're the one who knows best. What is the proposition for this particular tablet?
I think to understand how we are looking at this particular product, right? I think, like Anuj mentioned, with Xiaomi Pads, when we went back in 2022, that's where we basically broke the entire market with respect to what tablets actually are. Android tablets generally were not considered something that are great tablets, and you had to scale up a lot more to reach a good product.
Yeah.
That's where our Xiaomi tablets came in, wherein they were essentially the best Android tablets out there, which then translated to Redmi being the enabler of all the features that you get in Xiaomi Pad. And eventually, with a product like Redmi Pad SE 4G, we tried to get even more personal with the user, wherein how can this tablet become an extension of that person itself, right? And that's where the entire proposition of this tablet and the cover together comes into play.
Yeah.
Wherein I think this is one of the coolest accessories or covers that I've seen.
And you get this. You have to buy this cover separately, or
Yes, you have to buy it separately.
any other colors?
Right now, just the black one. Although, from a colors perspective, we have experimented a little with the tablet colors itself, wherein we have 3 different colors coming in. One is a forest green, an urban gray, and a ocean blue. So, from tablets perspective, what we have seen is that people are open to trying out new colors, new kind of material finishes, and that's something that we saw in Pad 6, wherein we launched the Mist Blue, and it took off like nobody's business. It was something that people really liked.
Do you think that's there to stay?
I I feel
See, if I
It-
go back, I think early 2000s, right? So 2005, 2006 time, Dell, Sony all had these colorful laptops.
yeah.
And then slowly they've died. Now you can buy a laptop in either silver or black,
Yeah.
pretty much, right?
I think it's also dependent on how we are looking at the overall consumer trends that are happening across industries, right? You see, in the overall way colors and fashion and all other industries work, there is a cyclical effect that is happening, wherein a lot of what you had, the lot of clothing, rather, like this is might not be the best example, but a lot of clothing that you would have seen in Friends back when we had watched it. I watched it when we were in college. Is the kind of clothing that you would see the current generation also adopting, right? There is also it might lend into the way people are looking at other product lines also, wherein the kind of trends that are happening across other industries are reflecting into the kind of products and the CMF that we are making. So it's something that we saw in our phones too, wherein new colors, new designs were really accepted by the younger audience.
So phones have stayed. Right?
Yeah, phones has stayed.
Phones, you've had a lot more experimentative kind of approach, and you used to get those really colorful Nokias.
Yeah.
Even today, you've got different colors coming in. Uh, the 3 additional colors that we are putting on the CV itself
Yeah.
are like massive pop colors.
Yeah.
But on laptops, it just disappeared. So,
Yeah.
or
I think,
because laptops have become boring and tablets are the cool thing.
Yeah, tablets
I
essentially.
think that's it, because now there is a growing need, I think, for people to try and match their various extensions of themselves, which is what you describe
Yeah.
this as, like your phone, your watch, your buds, your tablet, all of which come under the human ecology that we speak about. I think those are increasingly stuff that people want to match, or maybe even mismatch to an extent, to stand out, in the sense that maybe they'll want a blue tablet, a green phone, a red buds, and a white watch, for instance, right? So maybe that trend is happening, or maybe people also associate laptops with work traditionally, and not necessarily the fun or leisure side of things, which tablets sort of blur the lines a bit there.
I think tablets as a category itself is a very interesting category, because if you look at phones as a product line, right? In phones, if you say, for example, add an accessory, the accessories would be a cover, a screen guard, a kickstand, right? A cover would essentially make it protect it against scratches or make it look aesthetic. A screen guard would protect the display. A kickstand would essentially make using it easier, or a pop socket for that matter. The one Anuj also uses one of those. And but for a tablet, an accessory takes it to another level, wherein a tablet with nothing else and a cover would essentially become a great consumption device. Like, you could watch all your movies, you could watch anything and everything on the face of earth on it, and then suddenly when you add a pen to it, it becomes a creativity tool, or it becomes something more than what it is. Uh, Another thing, if you add a keyboard, then it essentially becomes a productivity device. So with every single addition of accessory, what it becomes, it changes the way it is supposed to be used, and that, I think, is the novelty of the category itself. What laptops did not have, laptops always came with the similar form factor. I think laptops also tried to get close to doing very fun things, when you used to have those HP swivel laptops, right? A smaller screen, but you used to turn around and you could close it and have a touch screen on top.
Or Lenovo ones.
Yeah, or
I think Lenovo had
Lenovo also had
The yoga.
the yoga ones.
Before that, there was an Idea Pad. So it was a netbook
Yeah.
which used to swivel and sit on top. I bought that, and I used it for the first 3 days, and then it just stayed as a very wobbly
Laptop.
laptop.
Yeah, so I think laptops tried to be a lot of things without realizing that, a laptop, a tablet is a very dedicated sort of a device that solves for multiple problems
Yeah.
and solves for multiple scenarios too. And the excitement for a category like this is still high, primarily because there's so much more that people are still exploring in a product like this.
Yeah.
And it's still something that, you know, you find it to be cool. Like when I started, I remember at home, and my sister, she has a iPad Pro 2019, the one before the one before the thin bezels,
2017.
2017, 2019, around that time. And the first thing that I did, I got that tablet. First thing that I did was started watching a movie at like 6 p.m. in the evening. Until 4 a.m., I had consumed all possible films, shows, and everything. And that's where I thought, okay, tablet is a great device.
That's why you came late to office the next day.
Possible one of these I would have been watching movies.
Yeah.
But that's essentially what made me feel that tablet as a product line feels much more than just like feels much more than a laptop. I don't have to.
In that case, because this one's got inbuilt SIM, I mean
Yeah.
the SIM
Yeah.
slot, you can connect it to networks. You can watch
Yeah.
stuff on a bigger display versus.
Yeah.
I see a lot of people even in planes right now. Right, so one, they'll watch the entire movie. So
On the phone.
a Delhi Bangalore flight
Yeah,
in bad
2.5.
weather is 3 hours,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and they're watching the entire movie with the phone kept on the table and watching it like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which is not ideal.
Yeah.
And then doing gymnastics when the food tray also comes in.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like at the corner, a shake and it just falls down, and then you're trying to
So
find it.
once, I think some of these flights have that.
Yeah, the
Holder,
holder.
right?
Yeah.
So I put my phone there,
It just falls.
and the guy in front reclined
Yeah.
so rapidly, the thing flipped. Right?
Ejector.
It actually did like those Olympic dives, right? So
Yeah,
it did
yeah.
like a double turn, one twist, and then felt straight on the. I had the tray table open, luckily.
Oh.
Face down.
Ouch. Ouch.
That actually happened to me this time
Oh.
when I was coming from Delhi to Bangalore.
Yeah.
And so the flight had this phone holder,
Yeah.
and the guy next to me, he also had a tablet. So he did this, cool thing where he'd like let
Put
me
the
put it
tablet.
there, put a tablet there. The flight hadn't taken off. Okay, as soon as it took off, the tablet just went tapak,
Oh.
and that guy was like, "Shit!" And while that space was able to hold the tablet, it still just went. It just fell on his lap directly.
So there, this one is actually quite
Yeah.
cool,
Yeah,
right?
this
So
is-
one, instead of your phone, you're just able to watch stuff on this on a larger screen.
Yeah.
And just place it anywhere.
Yeah.
I think the stand is something that is really,
It's quite
really
different,
cool.
right? It's not a plastic stand, it's a leather stand,
Hmm.
and quite an innovative solution
Yeah.
to actually make it stand. And obviously, the best part, just holding it and using it.
It gives you that Mexican standoff vibe, right? Like you're in a Western and suddenly you're like, okay, let me look up what is the
Right.
meaning of this particular coffee. Like,
If you could rotate it, yeah, for sure.
You just have to rotate your wrist, Sandeep.
Yeah, cool. But I think really good form factor. Anything on the display in terms of the overall acoustic experience as well that you want to talk about?
so for this one, it has been, entertainment being one of the core use cases for a tablet. We've made sure that the display has that resolution, plus the audio quality that you get. You have Dolby Atmos support, which means all the content that you're watching,
Which is crazy in this segment,
Yeah.
especially, right? So,
and Atmos is something that just helps you expand that sound stage to have a better audio and audio experience. And
So what's stopping me from using this as my primary phone? It's got a
yeah,
SIM.
yeah, that's true.
that is
It can make
It's-
calls.
it can,
It
and
has
it's
an
a very
earpiece. It
It
yeah
has
it's
a
a,
SMS app.
yeah
Earpiece.
it's an interesting
Yeah.
proposition. I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh.
sure,
So
surely.
for example, if I'm buying
Then
a
you can just
phone,
do this.
let's say I'm buying a phone for around 10K,
Hmm.
right? Doesn't this become a much better thing? And it becomes like a two-in-one device.
Possibly, yeah,
Right.
it does.
Yeah.
And it just has that entire handy feel to it too, and it becomes a it essentially becomes a center console more than just being a phone or a tablet of sorts.
Does it fit in my pocket?
I think it can. It can fit in your back pocket.
If you're used to. Oh, it is fitting.
What is?
It
Oh,
fits. It fits
okay.
in your back
That's-
pocket. It
That's
does.
pretty cool.
That was.
Yeah, it does fit in your back pocket. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Interesting.
That's nice. But yeah, I think it's a great product. And like Anuj said, maybe that's also a great use case to use it as a phone itself, considering you obviously have the school case.
And still has a headphone jack.
Yeah, it has a headphone jack.
and IR blaster.
And
Yeah.
IR blaster.
Yeah, Type C. Everything that you need is there basically. So
And I've been using this as like a at home. So I have that 3-seater recliner, and it has those gaps. So my remote
Weird
gets
flex, but okay.
yeah.
Okay,
But,
I thought would have a 3-seater.
3-seater. every half an hour I just move.
So every single time our Mi TV remotes, right? They're really sleek. So what happens is I end up those get caught up in between those.
He has 3 remotes.
I wish I was actually thinking I'll just get like a couple of remotes to keep, and so that I don't keep losing them.
Yeah.
So instead of that, sometimes I just use this as like a center
Yeah.
console wherein so there's lights, there's TV, all of that I can just have it on this, and it's much more intuitive and much easier to use because it has a larger screen and
pretty
in
cool.
that form factor.
Awesome. I think so. Great product, I think, overall, and possibility of even using it as a phone, like Anuj said. But then, like you also mentioned, there's a lot of people who are asking for that increase in terms of productivity
Yeah.
or using the tablet for creativity. And I think that's where we wanted to pass on some of the goodness and learnings that we had from the Xiaomi Pad series into the Redmi Pad
Yeah.
lineup as well. So enter the Redmi Pad Pro 5G. So of course we are bringing cellular connectivity to this, but I think that's only the tip of the iceberg, and there's so much more that it actually brings to the table, right?
So you
Yeah.
can choose 5G and Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi. Yeah.
Right?
You
So
have
if
both.
If you don't need 5G,
You do have an option.
Yeah,
you have an option.
Yeah.
But if I
But-
do choose 5G,
yeah.
can I use this as my phone?
Yes, you can. You want to try calling me?
Okay.
That was pretty quick as
Yeah.
well.
So do you want me to receive the call? You want to talk on this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
Hi Anuj, how are you?
He can hear you better now.
Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
Oh, with the call recorder in as well.
Yeah, so
Oh wow.
So- it's the MIUI dialer.
Ah.
So you have call recording, you have all the features that the MIUI dialer comes with.
So essentially, okay, yeah. I mean, it's almost like that, right? So if I have the 5G variant of the Pad Pro,
Yeah.
I can actually keep this as like a singular device.
Yes.
Which is
we
actually
can.
pretty cool.
But most of the cellular tablets don't have calling.
No.
No.
No calling, no SMS either.
Yeah.
No SMS, no calling.
Yeah.
It's purely for connectivity.
It's
not
only for
calling.
data.
Yeah, it's only for data. And
So this one is then going beyond that, no?
yeah,
Yeah.
It's doing
this
a
one
bit
does just more than having data and having internet connectivity. You can do calls, you can get your SMS. Essentially, what it becomes is you can do all your banking services on this.
more.
Because banking services are happening.
But
this,
will the banking app
Hmm.
give you the tablet interface or the phone interface?
Let me just try this
It'll
actually.
give you larger estate to show your small balance. But
Probably.
Even
I think-
smaller now.
But I think that's a great use case because ideally, when you're using something for productivity, you want lesser distractions, right? If you have it there where you don't need to pick up your phone or you need to pick up another device to, say, receive an SMS or to reject or answer calls, this one device can actually help you be more plugged in and get work done at a much faster pace. I think that's a great use case to have.
Even the Play Store opens side by side
Yeah.
and it's showing me banking apps. So,
Yep. It does.
interesting.
So another thing is
How do you pay through UPI though?
you
That'll be a
can
bit
scan.
much. This is not going to
This is not going to fit in your pocket, but it can still do the QR scanning.
I still remember there was this meme long time back when they introduced I think a 15. Another brand had introduced a 15-inch tablet something, and
50
they
inch.
15.
15. Oh,
yeah,
I thought
15-inch. No, not 50. So they'd introduced a 15-inch tablet, and the year before that, they were basically saying that our idea is to make tablets as portable as possible, and then they introduced 50, and so they said that the ideal TG that they have has a huge back pocket. So that's where he put it in. So I think
I'm not too sure about the 15,
yeah,
but I quite like
yes,
the 12, 13-inch
Yeah.
sizes,
yes,
as
and
long as the weight can be kept in.
yes,
Hmm.
and this aspect ratio also.
And this aspect ratio,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
this is, I think
60
we were doing
60 to
this side by side.
Yeah.
This was able to show more in terms of your video
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
than the iPad Air 13-inch.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It's just the width, like the length of this tablet
Yeah.
is, as much as like a 13-inch tab, and the width is as much as an 11-inch.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it feels more immersive, right? The moment
Yeah.
you have those black borders.
Correct. It takes
Yeah,
a,
it takes away
and
the entire
especially if
screen.
it's a large tablet
Yeah.
and your content's only a small
Yeah.
bar in the
Correct.
middle.
Correct. Yeah.
I think that's like a massive waste of screen estate.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I
that-
quite like it that ways. It's also bright.
It's
Yeah.
bright.
It's bright.
It's at a 600 nits.
Hmm.
Brighter than most competitors in that.
Like brighter
entire-
than the OnePlus Pad.
Yeah,
Samsung
brighter than the OnePlus Pad and the
S7 FE.
S7 FE. Yeah.
And I don't know if you've noticed this. For some of the newer tabs that have come in with obviously a really good screen tech, outside of HDR content, the rest of the content actually sometimes
that
ends
bright.
up getting scaled down.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Right? So non HDR still could be a 2K video or something like
Hmm.
that. So a couple of times I was putting this right next to another tablet which has OLED and stuff. And normal content,
Hmm.
they were indistinguishable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Interesting.
whatever the numbers that they claim, 1,000, 2,000, I don't know, tube light, nits. But if it, in your daily life, if this was turning out to be much better,
Yeah.
it's quite interesting.
There is actually one more area where I found this to be really good, and that is with photo editing. So what I started doing now is if I capture something on RAW on say the Ultra, I just transfer it here, and thanks to over 68 billion colors, I'm actually getting much more accurate representation of the photos. So of course brightness and everything is there, but most of the time you're not
Yeah.
ending up using it. But because obviously you have the stylus, you have that large display, you can actually edit it in a much better way. So that's also I think great for people who want the creativity side of things. And the stylus is absolutely great as well. And obviously, we did have the passive styluses in the past, the
Yeah.
support for that, but this is the first time we're getting it in a
Yeah.
active stylus format for the Redmi series.
So this is for the first time. This is the, like you said, it's the active stylus. Otherwise, we always had support,
Yeah.
support for passive stylus. But this one is an active stylus, borrows directly from the feedback and the development that we've done for the Xiaomi pads. So from there you have something that has that is inspired from Xiaomi pad itself. And the pen is, you have your usual 2-button interface. You have the nib, which has about a 4096 levels of pressure sensitivity.
yeah.
And another thing that works really well with this is the fact that the software itself has been taken to another level. Wherein, if you remember, in school we used to have the HB pencils, right? HB1,
Yeah.
HB2, HB3. So the Mi Canvas app, which is baked into the UI, has options to actually choose the stroke width, the tilt sensitivity,
Yeah.
and how transparent or opaque you want your writing or note taking to be.
Yeah.
So those are very, very minor adjustments here and there to make it a more creative product overall, rather than just having to take notes
Correct.
or making random circles here or there. So from a development perspective too, the whole hardware and software story is something that we've really put a lot of effort into and developed a lot of
I like the
development into.
keyboard as well.
Yeah.
It's a white keyboard, easy
Yeah.
to type, and I think it was a good option or good choice not to have the one with the trackpad.
Yeah.
And I know like a lot of people will be like, oh, you don't have a trackpad
Yeah.
one, somebody else has a trackpad. But chances are that if you've used a keyboard cover for most of these tablets, which had a trackpad, you would realize that none of them actually have palm rejection.
Yeah.
Mm,
And then
correct.
every single time you're trying to do a
Correct.
touch interface or typing, suddenly your
So
Yeah.
if you're
cursor keeps moving.
if you're typing, like
Yeah.
if you've got a keyboard, I'm assuming it's to type.
Yeah.
And when you're typing, chances are that the way you keep your hands, you are going to accidentally brush your palm or your
Yeah.
forearm against that sometime. And if you're writing a long document, you don't even realize that the cursor's
It
moving.
just moved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So somewhere you've written some random, gibberish letters,
Yeah.
and then you come back, but you've forgotten to change that, or you don't even realize where all it's gone and typed random things.
Yeah.
And then you turn in that document, and the other
Yeah.
guy's wondering, saying, what's written here? If you're in school, if you're in college,
Yeah.
then you're obviously getting negative marking for
Yeah.
those
That's
silly
true.
mistakes, spelling
Yeah.
mistakes.
I mean, because that area is also really tiny anyway,
It
right?
is.
And there's
No,
no.
but it has to be tiny.
Yeah, I
If
mean,
you make it
it's,
too
it's
big-
also sort of going to compromise on your keyboard space, right?
Yeah.
Those smaller keys, having less travel is going to actually be detrimental to your typing experience. Which, like you said, if you're buying a keyboard, it's for typing,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and so it's sort of a
And essentially,
worst of both worlds. Yeah.
But trackpad works really well for a non-touch display.
Yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I think
Right?
that's
Because that's where
Yeah.
you need that control.
Correct.
But chances are that you knowing exactly where to tap your finger
Yeah.
on an interface like this versus dragging around the trackpad saying, "Yeah, go to that corner now,
Yeah.
go to that corner."
Yeah.
But that's, I think, secondary. Obviously, you can get
Mm.
used to it. You can increase the speed of your
Cursor,
pointer and all
yeah.
that. But the accidental touches and
Yeah.
lack of palm rejection in almost everything out there that you see. Maybe I think there's like one or two tablet keyboards which have palm rejection of any sort.
Yeah.
Right? I've seen keyboards costing as much as $200, $250, which did not have palm rejection.
Mm.
So I've tried all of that in the past, and I was like, okay, we should not.
Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
I
sense. And I think in terms of productivity, creativity, one thing that is crucial, at least for a tablet, is good battery life.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, first of all, I don't know how we have also been able to cram like a 10,000 mAh battery into like a 7.5 millimeter
Yeah.
thin chassis. That's crazy. Which is, I think, about the same as a 14 CV, which is
Yeah.
considered to be one of the lightest. 7.4 is just 0.1 millimeter more. And it gives you, 33 days
Of standby. Yeah.
which is insane.
It's absolutely, the battery life is actually quite insane.
Yeah.
I mean, and the way we use tablets also, right? In that scenario, it goes on for days and days and days. I think one of the earlier days when we were testing out some of the beta devices,
Hmm.
I think you had, I think 4 days you went without.
No, so I charged my tablet, and then I had to travel. So I'd gone home
Hmm.
to Punjab, and from
Yeah.
there I had to fly out again. So I actually came back home after 15 days, and the tablet was on my desk, right? So normally what I would do is, okay, time to
Charge.
charge
Yeah.
all of the stuff that I had left behind, and I think it was still at some 77-78%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Pretty impressive then.
Yeah.
And you forget to charge, which has been happening with me a lot,
Hmm.
wherein I just forgot to charge the tablet because I didn't need to charge it
Hmm.
so frequently. Like for me, the schedule would be that in the night I would keep my phone for charging. That's it. So it would last a day. The next day I would use the phone again, keep it for charging in the evening. But
You couldn't put this for charge at night because you were watching movies till 4 in the morning.
probably,
Yeah.
but
your battery ran out before the
Yeah.
tablet.
So technically, yes.
Yeah.
Like my battery would usually run out before the tablets,
Yeah.
and that behavior pattern doesn't really apply to this tablet. Wherein it took, I think, 3 or 4 days later is when I ended up charging it, and the kind of standby that you're getting on this is just quite insane.
Yeah, so overall, I think obviously I like the screen size, but good use of space rather than
Yeah.
just a bigger display.
Yeah.
And that bigger display actually makes for a bigger keyboard. Like that has
Hmm.
largely
You've
influenced.
gotten that space.
Yeah,
A good accurate keyboard. You've also got good sound on this.
yeah.
Quad speaker.
Quad speakers.
Quad speakers. You've got, I think this is the first time, on the Redmi side, we are getting keyboard and
Yeah.
a pen support.
The Redmi going Pro for the first time.
Yeah.
And Vision Atmos as well.
Vision
Oh,
Atmos for the first time.
And then to top it all off, while you've got productivity and entertainment,
Yeah.
the battery life is just crazy.
Battery life is just Just insane.
Yeah. I mean, I was actually, and that was like a beta unit some 3 months ago,
Yeah.
right? I was
So it's
surprised
just
with that
improved.
itself. So
Yeah.
hopefully, somebody will swap out my beta unit for like a final unit so I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think both solid products, great offerings, and quite interesting to see how, we've been able to sort of bring in great products. Like we said, there's always been a lack of great products in this segment that we operate, and especially for the Pad
Yeah.
SE 4G, bringing in connectivity, bringing in a very balanced and great
Yeah.
product, not just focused or over indexed on one single aspect. That is something I think we have been able to successfully do.
Yeah.
And
Actually, till today, if someone asked me saying that, okay, I want a tablet which is below the Xiaomi Pad 6, I couldn't think of
Yeah.
a single one.
yeah, correct,
Now this is a
true.
great option.
So
Yeah.
I
It's one
think
of those offerings that finally comes to, comes in the same, or rather gets to that league of what Xiaomi Pad is able to do.
yeah, but
Cool.
yeah, very solid offerings, and hopefully everyone will also resonate our thoughts. I truly believe that these are amazing products, and I think once you try using it, you'll definitely see that there is so much more value addition with these amazing products, the Redmi Pad SE 4G as well as the Redmi Pad Pro 5G. Awesome. Thank you. Let us know any questions that you have about these products or anything else, and what you would like to also see us talk about in the next episode. As always, like, share, subscribe. See you again in the next one.